The huge problem with K-pop survival shows. K-pop survival shows are about young trainees fighting for a spot in the next big group. With killer performances and drama, it's no surprise they're a fan favorite. But behind the camera is a brutal process that's got everyone asking if K-pop survival shows are really that cruel. Welcome to the dazzling world of K-pop, where flawless music videos, perfectly synchronized choreography, and visuals that could make anyone swoon have taken the world by storm. But behind the glamour and glory, there's a darker, much more dangerous reality. K-pop survival shows meant to turn passionate trainees and underappreciated idols into superstars have earned a notorious reputation for the ruthless competition, exploitation, and the emotional roller coaster they put contestants through. But before we start spilling, don't forget to hit subscribe! The biggest villain behind the scenes is not a heartless judge or a jealous rival. We're talking about none other than Mnet, the South Korean television channel. If you've been keeping up, you're probably no stranger to their infamous survival show like the Produce series, Girls Planet 999, or the latest, Boys Planet, that formed Zero Base 1 in 2023. The first major problem was reportedly vote manipulation, and it all started in 2019. Mnet found itself in the center of controversy when allegations surfaced about rigged voting on Produce 101 and Idol School. Originally, the shows relied on audience votes to narrow down the contestants, with the final group set to debut as K-pop idols. But things took a turn during Produce 101 Season 4, when 272 viewers filed a lawsuit after they spotted some suspicious numerical patterns in the results. Apparently, their text votes weren't as legitimate as they thought. This resulted in Seoul Metropolitan Police launching an investigation, and by December 2019, Mnet was facing charges for everything from fraud to bribery and obstruction of business. This was honestly a scandal that rocked the industry, but not in a good way. Mnet's little voting fix not only left fans feeling played, but it also wrecked the careers of the very artists it promised to launch. After the finale, the top 11 contestants debuted as Group X1. But their rise to fame was anything but smooth. Despite the vote manipulation lawsuit looming over Mnet's head, X1's debut on August 27, 2019 with their fiery track Flash went ahead as planned. And wow, did they make an impression! Within a week, they snagged their first ever music show win, and by the end of the month, they had 11 wins to their name. But then a plot twist happened, and on November 5, 2019, An Jun-young, Produce X101 producer, got arrested, confessing to the vote manipulation scheme. But who ended up as the real innocent victim in all this? X1, of course. Mnet, the company that made them, pretty much ghosted them, canceling public appearances and slashing their promotion efforts. Worse yet, with their future uncertain and contracts originally set for 5 years, the group's agencies couldn't even agree on what to do next. Fast forward to January 6, 2020, and X1 was officially disbanded just like that. It was a tragic end to what could have been a bright career, all thanks to Mnet's shady moves. In an interview, Lee In-soo, a trainee of Produce 101 Season 2, revealed that on his season of the show, there was no public audition process at all, and the companies just quietly scattered their trainees behind the scenes. He also revealed that there was a hidden incentive to rig the system all along. The casting directors were getting paid based on the performance of the trainees they picked. Directors didn't just cash in for selecting contestants. They also earned more depending on how well those trainees ranked and how long they stayed in the competition. So, after all that chaos, Mnet had no choice but to publicly redeem themselves. So they promised to introduce an observer system for all their future reality shows. Voters will get to keep an eye on the vote tallying process, with third parties overseeing everything to make sure there's no funny business. Shows like Teen Singer and Queendom have already applied this. These days, the audience is way more aware, so vote manipulation has pretty much come to an end. But let's be real, problems don't just disappear that easily, do they? Another major concern is the way contestants are pushed to their breaking point, both mentally and physically. These trainees' futures are in the hands of the audience, who vote for their faves to make the final cut. But if you're not lucky enough to get enough votes, you're out, and the pressure just takes a serious toll on their mental health. Let's take Girls' Planet as an example, where the drama wasn't just on screen. The girls had to endure excruciating elimination episodes, dragging out the rankings with tears and anxiety. But the real shocker was happening behind the scenes. Liang Xiao, a Chinese contestant, revealed after her elimination that Mnet promised round-the-clock translators, but failed. She even ran out of her dorm trying to find someone to communicate with. And it only gets worse. The girls were forced through ridiculous filming of 40 straight hours shooting demo stages with zero sleep, followed by 3 days of filming their signal song performances. Many of them were under 18, raising serious questions about whether these shows are even following child labor laws. Alexa, the soloist, also revealed she once filmed for 24 hours straight with just brief food breaks during her time on Produce 48, and filming days often stretched 17 to 18 hours. But wait, there's more. In a recent episode of the ongoing survival show, Starlight Boys, the contestants were pushed to their limits, forced to perform the signal song non-stop for nearly an hour, with only a 30-second break. As the tension built, trainee Sung Ying-hao stepped in, reminding everyone they were human, not robots. But before he could make his point, Judge Lee Seung-gi cut him off. He tried to justify the grueling challenge, claiming it was to push the trainees, comparing it to a concert where artists perform long hours for their fans. Needless to say, fans weren't having it. News that some trainees had been rushed to the hospital made this way too serious to ignore. Fans flooded the comments with calls for a boycott and full support for the trainees, while Lee Seung-gi faced harsh backlash. One of the most famous problems of survival shows is what fans call evil editing. It's when editors deliberately cut key moments to make trainees or mentors look bad, or even twist situations by splicing clips from different parts of the show to create drama. For example, trainee Fu Yaning from Girls' Planet 999 was forced to throw shade at former CLC member Choi Yoo-jin. Mnet then edited the footage to show Eugene and the judges reacting in shock. As a result, she faced serious backlash. Produce 101's contestant, Jung Dong-soo, also revealed how 2 trainees taught their teammates to dance. But one got edited out and made to look like he did nothing, despite his hard work. That really made me feel like there was something going on, said Dong-soo. Fans have long been calling out these manipulative editing tactics. But despite all the complaints, this editing is still going strong. Furthermore, evil editing goes hand in hand with screen time manipulation. Some trainees are practically everywhere, getting all the screen time to boost their popularity, while others barely get a second to shine. If you're not getting enough airtime, it's hard for viewers to see your talent, and when the audience controls the debut lineup, those underrated trainees end up with low votes, even if they're insanely talented. This is also a case of discrimination, as it mostly happens to foreign trainees. The disparity between Korean and non-Korean contestants is crystal clear, especially when you look at elimination rates and final group lineups. In Boys' Planet, 63.4% of the trainees eliminated in the first round were non-Korean. Zhang Hao made history as the first non-Korean to win a survival show and become the center of the group, but he's also one of the only 2 non-Koreans in the final group. Final verdict? Survival shows can be brutal, and mistreatment is unforgivable, but let's not forget that they're often a golden ticket to stardom. If done fairly, these shows basically sort the strong from the weak. We know the K-pop world is cutthroat, and if you can't handle fair competition, surviving after your debut might be even tougher. So, Are K-pop survival shows cruel, or do they just prove a point? Let us know in the comments.